everyone. We are looking at grade 9 academic review. And on the front of your packet, we have 4 questions that I'd like us to take up in this video. If you remember, we said in class that we're pretty much good with everything except for ratios and percents. So I just want to do a few examples with percents and ratios in the questions, and then you should be good to go for the rest of this packet. So question number 1 says a cell phone is on sale for 15% off of its original price, $320. So that's key information that we need to include, okay? And then you also have a coupon to take an additional 20% off, and tax is 13%. How much will you end up paying for the cell phone? Now, one thing I want to point out is because this says it's an additional 20%, we cannot add 15% and 20% together, okay? And because tax is 13% off of the final price, we cannot subtract 13% from this percentage right here. So the first thing we need to do is find sale price after 15% off. Okay, now remember, if we have 15% off, if a full price, let's write down that a full price is 100%. If full price is 100%, then that means that you are paying 100 minus 15, or 85% is paid. So you only have to pay for 85% of the price. Well, if the price is $320 and you only have to pay 85%, you can multiply it by 0.85 because that's 85% as a decimal. Okay, so then we would just type that into our calculator and we would see what we would end up getting. So I would take 320, multiply that by 0.85, and I end up getting $272. So that means that I have to pay $272 after the 15% off. So $272 after the 15% off. Now, one thing I just want to show you guys is if you decided to take 320 and take 15% of that value, so times it by 0.5, you'll get $48. $48 is how much you are saving. So if I take 320 and subtract $48 from that, I get 272. I get my final answer, but this is a much quicker way to do it. Okay, great. So now that I've done that, the next thing I want to do is take the sale price, find the sale price after 20% off. But this time, this is off of the new price, which is $272, okay? So same thing, if it's 20% off, that means that you are taking 20% off of $100, so it's 80% paid, okay? So I'm going to take 272 because this is my new price, and I'm going to multiply that by the 80% that we want to pay, so 0.80 or 0.8. So I'm going to take 272, multiply it by 0.8, and I get $217.60. So this would be $217.60. Okay, now that I've done that, I just want to talk really quickly about the fact that you could do 272, multiply that by 0.2, you get $54.40 off, so subtract that from 272 and you get $217.60, okay? So we've done the 15% off and we've also done the 20% off. Now we have to deal with tax. So tax is 13%. So step 3 is to find final price after 13% tax, okay? And this is on our sale price, our final sale price, which is $217.60. Okay, so if it is 13% tax, it's added on to the full price that you're paying. So it's 100% plus 13, which is 113% that you're going to have to pay. Okay, so I'm going to take this value right here of $217.60, and I'm going to multiply that by 113 as a decimal, 113% as a decimal, excuse me. So I would multiply it by 1.13. So I'd go ahead and multiply 217.60 by 1.13. We get this crazy wacky decimal. We want to round it to the nearest cent, which is the hundredths place. So we have an 8 here. The number that comes after an 8 is another 8, so that 8 bumps up to a 9. So I get $245.89. So this ends up being $245.89. Okay, so therefore, the final price is $245.89. And yes, if you're paying in cash, if it was, since we don't have pennies anymore, it would be $245.90. But if you're paying with credit or debit, it would still be $245.89. Okay, now one last thing I just want to show you is that there is a shortcut where you can literally just take 320, multiply it by the first number we got here, which is 0.85, multiply that by the next number we got here, which is 0.8, and then multiply it by the last number we got here, which is 1.13. So then I can just type that whole thing into my calculator and I'll get my final answer. So 320 times 0.85 times 0.8 times 1.13, and I get $245.89, just like we wanted. So that's our final answer. Okay? Number 2 says Mario is making fruit punch by mixing orange juice and pineapple juice in a ratio of 1 to 3. Okay, how much pineapple juice should he use to make 3 liters of fruit punch? So first of all, when it says that it's in a ratio of 1 to 3, it means it's 1 part to 3 parts, and we don't know how much each part is. So what we'll do is we'll say let 1 part equal X, okay? And if he's using 1 part orange juice to 3 parts pineapple juice, then we'll say let amount of orange juice equal 1 part, so each part is X, so it'd be 1X. And then we're going to do the same thing, let amount of pineapple juice equal right here 3 parts, each part is X, so it'd be 3X. And altogether, Mario is making 3 liters of fruit punch. So I'm going to take how much OJ he needs, which is X, and then how much pineapple juice he needs, which is 3X, and altogether that should equal 3. So when I solve my equation, this becomes 4x equals 3. Divide both sides by 4, which means x is 0.75. So that means that 1 part is 0.75 liters, okay? So if 1 part is 0.75 liters, then you need 0.75 liters of OJ. And then to figure out how much pineapple juice we need, it's 3 parts where each part is 0.75. And so when I multiply that together, I get 2.25. And this 0.75 and this 2.25 add up to the 3 liters that we're looking for. So therefore, Mario needs 2.25 liters of pineapple juice. Okay, and we're done with question number 2. All right, so question number 3 says that Bob, Tim, and Kathy work on a school project together. The amount of work they put into the project was in a ratio of 2 parts to 5 parts to 3 parts, respectively. And respectively means 2 parts for Bob, 5 parts for Tim, 3 parts for Kathy. It means to do it in the same order you see the names. They worked on a project for a total of 3 hours. How many minutes did each person spend on the project? So we want to know how many minutes and not hours. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out 3 hours is how many minutes. Well, there's 60 minutes in an hour, so 3 hours is 180 minutes. Okay? Then I'm going to write my let statement. So we've got Bob. Remember, we don't know how big a part is, so we would call it X. We don't have to write that out because it's implied when we say let Bob's time equal 2X. Okay, then we're going to say let Tim's time equal 5x, and then we're going to say let Kathy's time equal 3x. And altogether, they spent 180 minutes. So I'm going to take 2x, 5x, and 3x, and I'm going to add them all together, and it's going to equal 180 minutes. Okay, so this ends up being, when I put 2x plus 5x together, that's 7x, plus another 3x is 10x, is 180 minutes. Divide both sides by 10, I get x equals 18. So Bob's time is going to be 2 times 18, which will end up being 36 minutes. Okay, Tim's time is going to be 5 times 18, and when I multiply 5 times 18, I get 90 minutes. Okay, and then Kathy's time is going to be 3 times 18, and when I multiply 3 by 18, I should end up getting 54 minutes. And then let's just double check to make sure that this adds up to the 180 minutes that we want. So 36 plus 90 plus 54 equals 180. So it works out for us. So therefore, Bob spent 36 minutes. Tim spent 90 minutes, and Kathy spent 54 minutes on the project. Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, number 4 is our last question. It says Candace works part-time at a clothing store. She earns $95 per week plus 7% of her value of her weekly sales. This week she earns $122.30. We want to find the total value of her sales. So if we don't know the total value, we're going to just call it X. So we're going to say let her total value of sales this week equal X. Okay, and this week we know that she made $95, so we'll start by saying $95. Plus, we also know that she made 7% of her weekly sales right here. So to write 7% of her weekly sales, we're going to write 0.07 for all of her sales, so 0.07x. And we know that she made altogether $122.30. Okay, so now I'm just going to solve this equation. So right here, I'm going to get rid of the 95 by subtracting it. So I'm going to take 122.3, subtract the 95, and I get $27.30. So I get 0.07x equals $27.30. Again, because all I did was I just took 122.30 and subtracted 95 from it. Okay, then I'm going to divide both sides by 0.07 to get that x alone. So you end up getting x equals 390. So her total value of sales this week is 390. Therefore, we can just say her total value of her sales this week is $390. And that's it. That's all we have to do for a question like this. All right, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye.